let's jump into the rugby, Stevie, as we approach the hour mark almost on the podcast. So we're going to have to fly through this and the cricket. But yeah, let's jump into how you found the first week of the Rugby Championship.
Well, we're winning it for a start, so that's quite easy.
The championship?
Yeah, look, everything, whatever it is, we're winning it. Two very interesting games. First of all, the Boks completely dominating Australia. Should have been more, could have been more. But this game for me showed why people are talking about us as being a different level at the moment. We're so much more than just the big bulky Boks that are going to run over you. We've become so multifaceted. this Boks progression is so exciting because we're seeing everything. We're seeing a dominant scrum. So we're seeing the physicality part. We're seeing dominant collisions. We're seeing the line-out percentage wasn't great, but we're seeing innovation at the line-out and rolling more tries, for example.
Yeah.
We're now looking at...
And our rolling ball hasn't been what it used to be.
No, it's not. Actually. No, it's not. So it was like, I think it was one of our first more tries in a while against a proper nation. We then look at the way we're attacking, for example, counter-attacking. The set moves off scrums. You've got, Kobus Reinach joining the back line. As a coach, I think you look at the Springboks right now and you go, I don't know how we beat these guys. There's so many different things to try and shut down, whereas previously it was kind of like, well, if you can beat them up physically and you put them on the back foot and contest really well in the air, you can probably, now I think we've become such a difficult side to beat. I think that's probably the best. That's probably why I'm the most happy with what we're seeing, is that we're such a difficult side to try and beat because there's so many different elements you have to try and individually take on.
Exactly. I think the funniest and the evidence to show that is in everyone else's response outside of South Africa. And people are looking at us not just as the model for success, but, obviously there's, claims that rules are being changed to not suit us. But it's just, it feels like, I think it's been exacerbated with New Zealand's loss to Argentina, that everyone, and it's the conversation about Super Rugby and South Africa not, that detracting and really having a knock-on effect to the quality in New Zealand and Australia is now paying dividends. And everyone just seems to be shaking in their boots a little bit about what everyone can't help but speak about.
Nobody gave us our flowers off 2019.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Nobody rated us off 2019. Everybody said that we flunked the World Cup and that England had played their final in the semi-final, and we had lost to New Zealand. And then we had a World Cup.
That was step one. That was step one of a much.
And then we had a World Cup of 3 1-point wins, and everyone's going, and now I think, to be fair, I felt in the last couple of weeks people are starting to go, listen, this is a proper best in the world side,
and it's very new and creative under this new system, very different to how we won the World Cup. New coaching staff in Tony Brown obviously having a massive effect, and we saw great performance from Sasha Gomezulu at 10 again. He looks so calm and looks like he's been there for 20 plus tests, rather than this being his first international season. So you have to give credit to him just for going in with such confidence.
I got absolutely taken apart by somebody online because I gave him a 7 out of 10 for his performance. And I was told that I know nothing. It's quite an interesting one. I think we need to talk about Sasha Gomezulu, I think, actually, and which is the reason I mentioned that. Because I think what we're seeing is a generational talent that is also 22 years old. It was such an interesting performance because he first of all, he shanked his first penalty attempt.
The duck hook to ruin his 8 from 8 record. He didn't everything about it. He just
it was awful. That could go down as one of the worst kicks for.
Yeah. Then 2 minutes later, he also bangs a penalty kick right into the corner.
So and that's why you have to laugh it off.
Of a mature rugby player, it's like, okay, mistake, put it behind you, onto the next.
Well, I think when he laughed off, I think he was just like, "Ew, that was cuck." Sorry, I think he just knew
that's not a kick I usually kick, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But he had some moments of absolute brilliance. A couple of good moments under the air. That break he made. That one at offload. But there are still mistakes in this game. He did miss touch twice, for example, and that's becoming a bit of a trend because he missed it as well against Portugal. He slipped a couple of tackles, but I think he made 8. I think it was one of the, so he's such an exciting player to watch because there are those mistakes of a young player coming through. and experience. But there's so many good moments. And what excites me the most about him is you look at the mistakes. They're such fixable mistakes. There are mistakes that once he's got 10, he's not going to miss touch this weekend. I don't think he will. I think he'll realize, okay, cool. I don't actually have to go 40 meters every single time. Just get it back, make sure, especially in the moment, if it's on the 22, if it's on the 5 meter, we can deal with it. So it's those kind of things. His goal kicking, we all know, is world class. So I think the couple of mistakes he makes are such minor, easy ones to fix. That's what excites me. I just don't see
putting everyone
any
in
shortcomings in his game.
His vision is unbelievable, and his ability to trust his creativity, because that's something that's really difficult to do on the international stage is bring that flair that you had at a domestic level when your opposition isn't as good, turn into the international stage. Listen, we're not here saying that Australia are one of the top 3 teams in the world. They're not. They are not at their best, but it was by far his biggest game and his biggest test, and the first time he's been given the starting jersey. So it was a massive moment for him, and I think he did pass with flying colours. As you said, the mistakes he made are fixable. But moving on to the test this weekend, we're taking them on in Perth. Just before Drickus takes on Izzy Adesanya, in the hope of that he gets a UFC bout in Africa. And that would be pretty iconic in of itself. But before we go into the UFC, we've drawn and lost our last 2 games in Perth. But, I mean, judging by really felt like a 50-50 crowd of Australians and South Africans in Brisbane, you feel like it's going to be about an 80-20 crowd to South Africa in Perth.
Yeah, I know. I'd be very impressed to see what the travelling support is like for Australia, because we're basically got on over and colonised in Perth this weekend.
Perth Fontaine.
There we go, Perth Fontaine. I think we should just trademark that. Look, I think as I said previously, we've lost by 1 point, and then we drew in 2017, so it's not like we've got a record to worry about. I think we will rotate. Team comes out as we record this in a couple of hours' time. I think there will be a couple of changes, but I think generally we'll keep a lot of the spine the same.
So I expect us to be... and Makazole were at the press conference and all alluded that they were, it's likely that if you had a press conference that you're going to be playing that weekend. So both of which I think will be really exciting to watch. I mean,
so I think we might see I think we might see an Oxenchair rested, for example, and Hirosile getting a start. And I think, Kirtley or Cheslin and Pippi probably starts. Pippi has to start because there's rumors that Kurabeti's playing. So it's not really up to about the coach stuff. He has to start. So,
exactly. Makazole said he was starting, so now.
Yeah. He basically delayed his retirement to come back and play this game. After this, he might just be like, well, I won everything. I'm going to go and chill.
What's in a way, that's what's funny about that rivalry is they're actually 2 of the nicest guys in rugby. And they actually don't hate each other. There was just that big row in the back-to-back games last year. So the rivalry's there, but I think both people know it's based off of respect, but they both want to bloody smash each other.
Correct.
But both the actually are just underspoken and clinical finishers and insanely physical beasts. But really excited for the second test. And let's quickly touch on the New Zealand massive loss to Argentina, and down in Wellington, a place that not very many people go and win, Stevie.
No, it was. I said on Twitter, I love watching New Zealand versus Argentina. If there's a non-Springbok game that you want to circle in your calendar, this is the one, because it's just bonkers. It's always bonkers. You've got 2 teams who are attacking-wise some of the best in the world, prone to some wild moments, and some of those Argentina tries were so cool. The Contaponi era, after such a shaky start against France, to go to New Zealand in Wellington and beat them. The way that, veterans, Augustin Creevy coming off the bench, and that scrummaging performance towards the last stages of the game.
A couple of steals and a try from him to win his first. He wasn't there when they won a couple of years ago. As well. So his first
words,
win.
It was fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing.
He was like, lost for words. What is it? It's fucking amazing. That's massive. And the Rugby Championship is ours to lose. There's no doubt about it.
It is.
You absolutely have to win it now. We have the best fixtures away and the best fixtures at home. So it would be an unbelievable.
And New Zealand were kept with. They don't have a point in the Rugby Championship right now. They're tied with.
They missed out on the losing bonus point.
Yeah, they didn't even lose bonus points. So we've got a 5-point head start on them. Cannot lose to Australia this weekend. You've got to be going for a bonus point victory, which means that we'll go into that New Zealand clash in theory, with a minimum, what we should do is a minimum of 5-point lead.
Yeah.
You know, you then beat them, and you go into that second clash with potentially like a 9 or 9-point lead, which for them, a victory against us in the second test wouldn't be enough to overtake us as long as you beat Argentina twice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised if like it's a 1-win, 1-loss to the All Blacks at home.
I think we beat them in Ellis Park, and I wouldn't be surprised if we lost them in Cape Town.
We never fucking keep the Freedom Cup. It's just like rugby heritage. But also, I think that Argentina away is going to be a proper banana peel. That's going to be a big one where people might just have their heads switched off a little bit. We've seen what happened, how dominant we were versus Ireland, and then not managing to back that up with another solid performance. So now we're looking for consistency from the Springbok team. So it'll be exciting to see. And as we said, our expectation is that we come out on top. Let's quickly touch on the Currie Cup, Stevie. And round 6 is now done. A 40 points to 21 win for the Sharks. A 26-19 win for the Cheetahs over Western Province away. And then the Bulls with a blowout win, 55 points to 21 versus the Griffins. And of course, your Lions, a massive 55 to 12 point win against the Pumas at home, which puts you guys up into second.
Yeah, Ruan Venter hat trick. You know, the next enforcer, the next big Springbok legend. You know, going back to Currie Cup and doing the business. Yeah, it's a very interesting table. You know, Sharks steadily trying to climb up. Province continued to having a bit of a nightmare Currie Cup at the moment. So not looking good to finish in the top 4.
No.
Cheetahs, importantly for them, bouncing back and getting a victory. It's quite cool actually. I'm going to watch Lions versus Bulls in 2 weeks' time, but Loftus is being used for a concert, so it's actually happening at a school. It's happening at Michigan College. Yeah, which is going to be quite interesting.
Intimate.
And I did a survey about. I mean, Carling Black Label are now sponsoring it at the moment. So I did a survey about the Currie Cup, and they said, "What would you like to see more?" And I said, "More games at community stadiums." You know, like I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really interested to see what it's going to be like because. I don't want to water down the Currie Cup, but I mean, I went to Ellis Park. It was a decent atmosphere. It was a decent vibe for the Sharks game.
But a stadium for a Currie Cup game,
it's ginormous. You know, I'd love to see more school stadiums, more university stadiums being used for the Currie Cup.